Here we go. Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us. My name is Troy Peterson. I'm with Fidelity National Title, and on the video, I have with me two friends and colleagues, Jay Jasper with the Jasper Associates from Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, as well as Eric Murrieta from Homeowners Financial Group. Guys, thanks for joining me today.
Absolutely.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you.
Good to have you. Good to have you on the call. Both experts here in our local Phoenix market. So let's throw to you first, Jay. We've been talking recently. I've seen a lot of your stuff that comes out, the things you're communicating. You've stayed on top of it. A lot has happened in the last 30 to 45 days. Been impressed by how you're informing, your clients and consumers. So tell me a little bit about what you're seeing, currently, what's going on, and how you're informing, your people as to what's going on.
Well, I think that the number one lesson or the mantra we have is stay local in your market, meaning, the national news paints a pretty grim picture because it's usually centered in, the hot spots, New York, the whole East Coast. And in our market in Arizona, it really, talk about the Wild West, we really are running contrary to most of the nation. Even when we look at the numbers, for instance, of the drop in listings, there's a stat out that says that across the country, listings have dropped on average between 35 and 55%. That's kind of a broad average. We dropped in the low 20s when that stat was out. Now we've picked up a little bit, although the last things I've read has said that listings are starting to pick up again. And why that's important is that the big thing that we're worried about is price stability. The market coming back really is based on stabilization of prices. And one thing we have in the Arizona market, or at least in the Valley, is that because our sellers market was so strong when this happened, even as of today, if you look at the Cromford report, for instance, every area that they study is still well into the seller's market. So we're a long way from even a balanced market, let alone a buyer's market. And so the caveat to that is when will they set us crazies free? Because there's so much pent up demand, we still see it. People wanting to buy houses, thinking about moving here, but either can't get here or, fear kicks in when they pause. And of course, Eric's going to play a role in that in his industry, because if they overreact a little bit and tighten credit too much, like things tend to do, that'll have effect on how fast we recover. But even I would say the gloomiest of statisticians that I've read have said, if we come out of this gradually, but it starts pretty soon, our robust housing market will rebound. At what speed will depend on some other facts. But anyhow, that's our number one thing is let's look at the local market, ignore the national, because right now it's not the same.
Yeah, good advice. Eric, your thoughts on kind of where lending is right now, what you're feeling, sensing, what's happening?
Yeah, well, I love that, Jay, talking about focusing on your local market. And I think it's the same thing, right? Like one of the cool parts about Homeowners Financial Group is that we're local, right? Like we are operating out of Arizona. So we have a really nice beat on, the market and how we have to help buyers, in this market, how we have to help our refinance clients. So we're firmly entrenched and embedded in Arizona. So I love the local spin on it, right? Like focusing on the local stuff, focusing on what's happening in your own backyard and not getting too, outside of it on the noisy stuff. When it comes to, the lending side of things, and Jay, you mentioned it too, on the tightening of the credit stuff, I think it's a natural reaction to uncertainty, right? When people get uncertain, what do? They go conservative, right? Like I'm uncertain, I don't know, like pause. And so I do think, there is a lot of noise out there about, jumbo loans and, low FICO loans and those sorts of things. And here's the way that I look at it on the tightening of the credit side. We never got to a fully laxed attitude or atmosphere that was going on in 5, 6, 04, 05, 06, 07? Like, did we start to see some things loosen a little bit? But it's interesting because a year ago I had agents and partners asking me, when are they going to loosen up stuff? And I'm like, well, what do you mean loosen up stuff? But I think as far as, the tightening of some things, we are seeing a pullback to looking at the loans that have the highest propensity of risk and stating, what do we have to do to ensure that these borrowers can manage this debt, can make these payments, and can live in the house that they're trying to afford? And being a conservative guy by nature, I don't hate that. I look at it and I go, yeah, make the loan officers that are out there talk to their borrowers, make them, educate them, help them understand what needs to be done. But we are seeing things, where, our credit standards a little bit tighter on, low-end FICO borrowers. Yes. Here's the silver lining on it though. I always worked with our clients, and any good loan officer would work with their clients to say, what can we do to get your credit score up? Because we always want to get our clients the best pricing possible. So yeah, is it tight? Yeah, but it's still there. Self-employed borrowers, yes. Are we going to scrutinize things a little bit more? Yeah, but it's okay. Have a plan. Let's work it through. Jumbo borrowers, is it tighter? Yes. Can you still get them? Yes. And do we need to be creative to help clients that are maybe on the fringes find ways to get some stuff done? I think the answer is still yes. But the stuff that really went away, and Jay, I think you would attest to this, was the stuff that, should we really have been going to that level to begin with? I don't think the answer was no, but I think in a market where we're uncertain, we have to pull back just a bit on some of that stuff to let it die down. But I think the rebound, like you said, on the market, on the housing side, is going to be as robust on the lending side. The stuff that's gone today isn't going to take 4 years to come back. It'll come back a lot faster. Hopefully that helps. I don't know if that, kind of adds to your conversation, Jay.
That's great. So let's take that, kind of the rebound. Not that we're going to go into prediction here, but Jay, you have a team, multiple team members that are working all over the valley and are doing lots of work right now. So yes, it has slowed down from a macro lens of title where we see kind of a bigger picture. Things have slowed down, but there's still lots of activity. So tell us a little bit about that. What's happening? People still need to buy and sell, out of staters. Give us your perspective there.
Well, it's probably, those of us that have been in the industry a long time, I'm sure Eric can attest to this too, is a little adversity thins the herd. Mm-hmm. And frankly, Arizona was approaching 90,000 licensees. That's just a ridiculous number. And so I think this is going to help us thin that out a little bit. Those who are just the onesie-twosie transactions or the part-time mortgage people, which gives us all indigestion, and even some of the national lenders who, the big banks who, don't know how to, they're not used to doing business in Arizona. They kind of one size fits all, and I think will pull back. But I would agree with that. For instance, FHA raised their credit score. Didn't they raise it up to 660 or 640?
Yeah, I mean, and a lot of that though. So here's what's interesting. It's not that FHA's raised it necessarily. So there is a little bit of uncertainty because from lender to lender, it's a little bit different. FHA never changed their guidelines. They'll still allow a borrower between 580 and 620. But the problem that we have right now is that the servicing side of that's a little goofy. And so a lot of the lenders are going, hey, if these loans have the highest risk of default, we have to be very careful before we start going there. So it's made them too expensive for clients to get access to. And that's really why that market has tightened up. But again, Jay, on your side, so are we seeing that? Yeah. So you get a borrower, it's like, hey, I'm 635. Well, it's like, well, right now, let's get you to 660 so we can get you some pricing that's going to make sense, right? Like we're going to tighten up a little bit because we want to make sure that we're putting you in the best position to be successful. So yeah, for sure.
And I think it's people in your industry who are really good at what they do. Getting a score up 15 points today is nothing like it used to be.
Right.
I mean, if people follow a few rules, they can get that up quickly. And you're right, big effect in pricing because the mortgage insurance is cheaper and all the other factors. But so what we're seeing is I think we have a lot of people. Arizona's part of this, again, talks about our marketplace. We're different than many parts of the country because we've been a destination for a while. You know, Californians getting out of crazy expensive. You know, the upper Northwest, same thing. Chicago and
Minnesota, maybe.
Pardon me.
Minnesota, maybe.
Minnesota, maybe. Yeah, don't you know? But more like Illinois. So we're talking about really high property tax states. You know, where cost of living has gotten to be insane. They're moving here. Well, that doesn't change because of the I call it the event. I don't want to call it the pandemic because I have my own thoughts on why this is a little overblown. But anyhow, all that's going to do is speed up. So if they were in a place where they got locked down even further or didn't like what was going on or felt like they needed to move before, whether it be now or later, they're going to move in droves. The other thing is that migration really is somewhat infinite, relatively speaking. There wasn't like a certain 500,000 people were going to move and then that's it. It's a constant migration.
Mm-hmm.
So that will continue because those people that were moving weren't necessarily all job people. They were bringing wealth with them, meaning semi-retired, getting ready to retire, late in their careers, 401k'd, you know, and so they're looking for this move to Arizona to maybe wind down their job because they got to transfer, could work from home. They're not looking to get a job. They've got that, or they've got their own position. And so again, that's not going to change. So we see maybe some people delaying trips because they can't get here, you know, they were afraid about getting quarantined in the state. That's gone away. So we're starting to see people plan their trips again. And corporate transfers, I just got a call from some people up in Wisconsin that they're moving, they got to be here June 1, and you know, they got so many days to find a house. They're buying a house. So I think the one thing that we've learned is when it gets crazy, we don't do a good job of connecting with our sphere of influence. Well, can't do open houses very well. We can, you know, do the virtual thing, but that's not the same. We're not busy showing, you know, online buyers as much and all this stuff. So what do? We go back to old school real estate. Remember the iBuyer said, we're going away. Well, they went away. And what are we doing? We're counseling people. We're calling them on the phone. People are calling me going, hey, how you doing? Outside Arizona market, you know, and that's the lesson learned is pick up the phone, you know, talk to the people you've been in business, friends, you know. April Mock on our team, she had a couple of buyers from California that delayed. So she was on the phone, she's talking to her sphere, picks up 2+ more to fill that spot because she had something to talk about, the market and how were they doing? Did they have toilet paper? You know, you can actually make light of it somewhat. And
Toilet paper.
But generates, that's what we're supposed to be doing in our business and mortgage too. We talk to our past clients.
Yep.
And I know I'm guilty of that, not keeping up on that as much as I should.
Well, you say you're guilty, but I would affirm both of you, Jay. I know you make those connections. I've seen, you know, I'm on some of your content distribution list, and so I see the communication, I see the connection. I know Eric's doing, I see some of what he's doing and his team is doing, staying connected to the client. And so kudos for that. And thanks for hopping on. I'm going to wrap up here real quick and just say, you know, if you're looking for some advice, Eric's amazing. If you haven't thought about refinancing for a while, or if you haven't done it, man, now's a really good time to look into it. And Jay, thanks for your partnership, support. Appreciate your friendship. And if you're looking for some real estate advice and counsel, you know, in this season, reach out to Jay and his team at Berkshire Hathaway. So, all right, guys, good to hang with you. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon.
Appreciate it, Troy.
Yep.
Nice to meet
See
you.
later.
See you guys.
Jay Jasper knows the truth. Call 301